I'm meteorologist Cecily Tynan with this AccuWeather alert. We do have a tornado warning in effect for southwestern Newcastle County until 9 o'clock. Now, this is radar indicated. There is a storm that's about 8 miles south of Middletown, Delaware. It's moving northeast at 20 miles an hour. That's capable of producing a tornado. So if you live within this polygon, you do want to seek shelter immediately. Get into your basement, get into an interior room without any windows. You can see that it's a pretty formidable cell that's moving through. We've had 15 lightning strikes over the past just about 11 minutes here, and this is all moving up north and east, again at about 20 miles per hour. And there is a little bit of a hook echo on the radar, and relative velocity actually shows what looks to be that circulation. So when you see this, it means that there's some rotation in the atmosphere. Not confirmed that it's actually hit the ground, become a tornado, but when you see that rotation, that means there is a possibility of a tornado. So again, you do want to seek shelter right away. Moving northeast at 20 miles per hour or so, should be heading through Blackbird within about actually right now, and then heading towards Tent. And if this stays together, it would be moving into Salem County, New Jersey. Typically in our area, we don't get the long track tornadoes. They kind of skip around, they touch down, and then they lift up. But even if the tornado doesn't hit you, with all these lightning strikes, you do want to get indoors right away. The storm is kind of fueled with high humidity, and it's a warm front that's pushing in. So this is what's creating the heavy downpours, the thunder, the lightning, and you can see that possible spin with some of that rotation with the wind, creating that possible tornado. So I want to show you some tips. We don't get tornadoes a lot in our area, fortunately, but if you are within that warning, the tornado warning for southwestern Delaware, go to southwestern Kent County, Delaware, go to your basement right away. Best place to be would be a closet or an interior hallway. If you don't have a basement, you want to avoid any windows. You want to put as many layers between you and the outside as possible. Most tornado fatalities and injuries are caused by flying debris. Get indoors and get under a sturdy object. If you are within that tornado warning right now, really the basement is the best place to go. So a wider view showing this is all part of a warm front that's pushing through, that's been bringing some real tumultuous weather to Maryland. So this is kind of the leading edge right now, moving through southwestern Newcastle County with that tornado warning until 9 o'clock. If you look farther to the west, Maryland has been getting hit very hard. They've had about a half dozen tornado warnings with a confirmed tornado near the ground in Gaithersburg, Maryland. So you can see Baltimore right now under a tornado warning. So we have several, but the one that we're concerned about right now is southwestern Newcastle County. With those lightning strikes, you can see that there's a lot of energy in the atmosphere, and whenever you get that rotation, that's a potential for a tornado. Again, we don't have it confirmed with eyewitnesses, but it would be rain wrapped anyhow, so it's really hard to see, and the sun is set. So that tornado warning continues until 9 o'clock for southwestern Newcastle County. So you can see it crosses Route 1, Route 9, and 13 into the Delaware River. So if this holds together, we would be watching it moving into Salem County. At this point, though, this is really what we're focused on. If you look at the radar, you can see that that's what's known as a hook echo. So that's an indication that there's some winds kind of wrapping around the center of the storm. When you get that rotation, it starts higher up in the atmosphere. That creates a funnel cloud. If it touches the ground, that becomes a tornado. So again, this is radar indicated, a storm capable of producing that tornado. And over the past 15 minutes, we've had 18 lightning strikes in this small area alone. So that's an indication that there's a lot of energy in the atmosphere. This warm front is encountering some high humidity. We've got dew points in the 70s, so it unleashes a lot of rain. And when you got the possibility of some of those veering winds, that creates that potential tornado. So it looks like it's heading towards Collins Beach right now. It's just north of Walker. But the thing about tornadoes is they tend to kind of skip around. They can change their direction. They can change their speed very quickly. So that's why the actual polygon is pretty wider. So if you live within that area, again, you do want to seek shelter immediately. That tornado warning is in effect until 9 o'clock tonight. So this is the relative velocity, and this shows typically what we're looking for is gate-to-gate shear when we have the red, which are the winds heading away from the radar site, and the green heading towards. But this does show almost looks like a debris ball right now south of Middletown. So that can be an indication that there's a possibility of that tornado. So this is why the National Weather Service has issued that tornado warning to let people know you do want to get indoors right away. Seek shelter, get into your basement, get into your interior room. Pine Tree Corners right now, you are actually probably right under the gun. So if you live in Pine Tree Corners, you should be in your basement right now. Can we add any more localities, Paul, to show? This is not a very populated area, which is a good thing, but again, this is southwestern Newcastle County. This is very close to the border of Kent County, just north of Smyrna. And when you see that, that is an indication that there could be some rotating winds, the potential for a tornado. We also have near 10th Delaware, Newcastle County, heading towards the Delaware River, heading towards Salem County, New Jersey. This complex of storms has been bringing a lot of tornadic activity to Maryland. I've been watching this. This is kind of the leading edge of it that's pushing into our area right now. Past 15 minutes, we've had about 14 lightning strikes. You can see that little bit of a hook as that system moves to the northeast, again at about 20 miles per hour. And Clay, can you do me a favor? Can you get me that iPad that's on the desk over there so I can look for an update? Some other localities in the path of the storm. Thank you, Paul. Collins Beach, now Lower Alloways Creek. Now this is past the 9 o'clock finish time for the tornado warning. So if it would hold together by 9:15, Lower Alloways Creek would be in the path of the storm. By 9:21, Garrison Corner would be in the path of the storm. So if it would hold together, it would be moving across the Delaware River, moving into Salem County, New Jersey. Typically, we don't get storms like this that are holding together. Thank you very much. We don't get the long track tornadoes in our area. We get typically the quick spin ups that kind of hit or create some of that rotation before they possibly hit, and then fortunately they would fall apart. So at this point, we still have that tornado warning in effect for Newcastle County. We also have the possibility of some flash flooding. I'm looking at some of the flash flood guidance. The thing about these storms is that they're hitting very high dew points. We've got dew points generally in the 70s, so it's unleashing a lot of heavy rain in a very short period of time. I'm just looking for an update right now. Radar indicated tornado, flying debris, like I mentioned, the main concern with the possibility of tornadoes, so that's why you want to get away from those windows. But these show the precipitation rates. Now this shows the precipitation rate, that rainfall rate at potentially more than 2 inches per hour. So this is blinding rain. So if you're out and about in storms like this, the best thing you can really do is pull over. It's really hard to drive in rain like that. Of course, rain can cause a flash flooding. It's not severe like winds or hail or tornadoes, but this shows that there is a lot of moisture in the atmosphere, and this warm front is kind of unleashing some very heavy rain across our area. So let's go back to the tornado warning right now, and I'm going to see if there's an update. Again, it continues. We've got some hail. Possibility of about an inch. The latest update shows that that potential tornado is located near Green Spring, near Middletown, Delaware, moving northeast at 20 miles per hour. So that tornado warning remains in effect until 9 o'clock for Newcastle County for about the next 5 minutes. Of course, storms do not look at the clock. We'll see if this is either expired early or if it's extended. If that happens, it would be extending into Salem County. So you can see that possible hook echo. A lot of times when we look at the radars, we can see the rotation of the winds based on the radar echo. So that shows that kind of classic hook that shows the winds trying to wrap around the center of that storm, and that's the possibility of that tornado. Again, radar indicated, but this complex of storms moving through Maryland has produced at least one confirmed tornado in Gaithersburg, Maryland. There's a lot of video online for this. Also reports that area that some buildings were destroyed, some people were trapped. So you can see how it kind of arcs from Newcastle County through Maryland. So tornado warning in effect near Baltimore until 9:30. So once this particular cell hopefully dissipates and weakens, we are going to be watching some of this activity farther to the west. And you can see how it's all moving north and east. This warm front pushing through tonight. We were talking about the potential for some heavy weather. We're getting the heavy downpours, the thunder and the lightning. But our concern right now, it's what's happening in Newcastle County with that tornado warning in effect until 9 o'clock. This is a pretty good looking, I don't want to say good, but a pretty classic looking signature with the potential for that hook echo and the lightning strikes and the rain wrapping around that rotation. With a storm like this, you get the rotating winds, typically higher in the atmosphere. That creates a funnel cloud. If the rotation hits the ground, that is a tornado. So Collins Beach, Pine Island, Lower Alloways Creek, and Maskell's Mill, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, all in the path of the storm system, moving northeast at a fairly good clip at about 20 miles per hour. And this is what's prompted that tornado warning. Again, radar indicated. We don't have any reports of any eyewitnesses accounts of this particular cell, but we do have eyewitness accounts of some of that activity across Maryland. This shows the rainfall rates, and you can see now that heavy rain is extending out of Newcastle County into Salem County. There they have the rainfall rates of about 1.5 inches per hour. So with the higher humidity, it's bringing a lot of rain in a short period of time. So this is the potential for some flash flooding. A good idea not to be traveling in a storm like this. Pull over, kind of wait it out. Don't get out of your car because these definitely do have some juice. This shows the relative velocity. Again, you can see what we're looking at for the possible radar indicated tornado right now is south and east of Middletown. It's kind of racing towards the Delaware River, and this is the possibility of that track. We've kind of been watching it as it's been pushing through southwestern Newcastle County towards the river, moving northeast at about 20 miles per hour. So why don't we go ahead and show the polygon again if people are just joining. Here we go. No, we don't have to. All right, the tornado warning has been expired for Newcastle County, Delaware. Let's go ahead and show the wider view, Paul. I want to show what we're watching, why we are in fact staying here, and we're not going to be cutting into any more programming if we don't have to, hopefully, but we are looking at some of this activity that's rolling through Maryland. As it moves closer, we will watch. We will let you know if we have any tornado warnings, but right now that tornado warning for Newcastle County has expired. We'll have more details on Action News tonight at 11. We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming. Thanks for joining. Rick, this is the second one of the night, and this is for west central Newcastle County. This is until 11:30 tonight. So there is a storm capable of producing a tornado near Bohemia Mills, near Middletown, Delaware, moving east at about 20 miles per hour. So if you live within that polygon, what you want to do right now, you want to get into your basement right away. If you don't have a basement, just get to an interior room at the lowest level of your building. If it's a closet or a bathroom, something away from windows, because most of the injuries or fatalities from tornadoes are from flowing and debris that's kind of been blown around with the wind. So this is the tornado warning in effect. Again, Middletown, Delaware, moving to the north and east. Over the past 15 minutes, we've had 8 lightning strikes, and this is a little bit farther north of the tornado warning that we had around 8:30 tonight. And this is radar indicated, so it means that there haven't been any witnesses seeing a tornado. It's dark anyhow. It's rain wrapped. And as we look at the relative velocity, so this shows the winds. Now, the winds heading towards the radar site, those are in green. The winds heading away from the radar site are in red. So what we have right here is what's known as good gate-to-gate shear. We have the winds in one direction and the winds in the other direction very close, and that is a signature of some rotation in the atmosphere. When you get the spinning rotation, you form a funnel cloud. If it hits the ground, it forms a tornado, and that's where you get the damage. So moving northeast, east-northeast at about 20 miles an hour. So Summit Bridge, McDonough, Thornton, and Port Penn all in the path of this possible tornado. Now, why there's a polygon that's wider is that tornadoes typically, they don't follow a straight line. They kind of move back and forth. They kind of skip around. So that's why the polygon itself is a lot wider than that particular track. But if you are in central Delaware, you do want to get indoors right away, get into your basement. Also, in addition to the damaging winds, the lightning, these storms are unleashing a lot of rain in a short period of time. The rainfall rates close to 2 inches per hour, and actually they've had up to about 6 inches of rain in parts of northern Maryland, and that's where the storms are moving away from. So Storm Tracker 6 showing the rainfall rates very impressive, blinding rain with the potential for some localized flooding, but again, the tornado warning is our biggest concern. I do want to show you, why don't we show you a little bit wider radar? Or first of all, I'll show you that polygon. Again, the tornado warning until 11:30 for central Delaware, Middletown, Delaware included in that. It's just to the east of Chesapeake City, Maryland, crossing 301 and heading towards the Delaware River. So what you want to do, again, if you're in a tornado warning, we haven't had many this season so far, fortunately, but we do get tornadoes in our area. So seek shelter right away. Go into a basement. That's the best place you can go. If you don't have a basement, again, a closet or an interior hall on the lowest level of your building. Avoid windows. You don't want any broken glass. Get indoors if you're outside. There's no reason why you should be outside, and get under a sturdy object is a good idea as well. You really want to put as many layers between you and the outdoors as possible. Now a wider view showing what we're dealing with tonight. It's a warm front that's moving out of our area. The storms in Maryland have been intense. They've had 15 tornado warnings in Maryland. There have been 2 confirmed tornadoes. So these storms are moving out of Maryland into Delaware right now. Now, as they're moving up to the north and east, they are losing their intensity. So the heaviest weather we've been getting tonight, unfortunately for the folks who live in Newcastle County, Delaware, it's been really focused in your area. When we get the storms moving out, they've generally been lessening in intensity. We get the heavy rainfall, we get the thunder and lightning, but we don't have the potentially damaging winds. That is that tornado warning in effect until 11:30, just north of Middletown, Delaware, including Thornton. So again, get indoors immediately if you do live in this area. We've been looking at numerous lightning strikes, heavy downpours, and the potential for the damaging winds, all with this warm front. And if you've been stepping outside at all this evening, you notice it's so humid out there, so that helps add fuel to these storms. We have a lot of moisture in the air. There's also something called a low-level jet. It's a river of air above the surface, and that kind of helps provide some lift. So even though the center of the storm system is well up to the north, when you have that low-level jet, it helps provide lift. Storms, when they lift up, they intensify, and these are the storm reports. So we've had, again, 15 tornado warnings in Maryland, 2 confirmed, one in Gaithersburg, one in Baltimore, and the one in Gaithersburg actually reports of some structures collapsed, many injuries, unfortunately. So that caused a lot of problems. That was earlier this evening. And then you can see how they're kind of peppered further to the east, moving into the eastern shore of Maryland and then Middletown, Delaware. So this was this tree damage we had reported earlier this evening around 8:30. We had our first tornado warning of the night, and now we have that second one, Middletown, Delaware. So basically the first one a little bit farther to the south. The second one, what we're dealing with right now, is across central Newcastle County, Delaware, and these storms continue to move northeast at about 20 miles per hour. So people are home. Most people are in bed. Hopefully everyone has a way to get their warnings on their phones. This is not a highly populated area, but we did have a tornado in Middletown, Delaware several years ago that did cause a lot of damage. So second one of the night with those tornado warnings in Newcastle County, Delaware. Relative velocity now showing that we still have some gate-to-gate shear. With that, again, that's the winds, the green, the winds heading towards the radar site, the red heading away. So this is a way we can use Storm Tracker to not just look at the rainfall and the direction of the rain. We can see that wind, and when you get that strong gate-to-gate shear, that couplet, that's an indication that we get the rotating winds higher in the atmosphere. Again, that causes the funnel cloud. If the funnel cloud hits the ground, that causes a tornado, and this is radar indicated. So the folks at the National Weather Service, they're looking at the same things that we're looking at. They see this, and that's when they pull the trigger for that tornado warning. Moving east northeast about 20 miles an hour. So Summit Bridge, Graylag, McDonough, Thornton, and Port Penn all in the path of this possible tornado. That tornado warning until 11:30. So if you know anybody who lives in these localities who may be asleep, may not be watching the news, maybe give them a call, let them know what's going on so they can get themselves and their family into their safe place. Second tornado warning of the night, and so far this season we really haven't had a lot of tornado warnings. Much of the nation has, but we have been relatively quiet until tonight. So you can see how that extends from Middletown, Delaware, east of Chesapeake City, up basically to the Delaware River, just a little bit farther north of the tornado warning we had earlier tonight. So again, if you live in these areas, you do want to seek shelter immediately. This kind of zooms in, showing some of the other localities: Greylag, Thornton, St. George's Heights, Summit Bridge, basically crossing Route 1 towards the east. If that particular cell stays together, it would be heading towards the Delaware River. A lot of times when that happens, the cells kind of dissipate. It's moving pretty quickly, northeast about 20 miles per hour. And notice how the actual possible tornado spotted near Middletown, Delaware, north of Middletown, Delaware, with a radar. And notice how the polygon kind of widens out. And again, it's because tornadoes, they can kind of have their mind of their own. They don't necessarily continue the same direction or even the same speed. They kind of move around a lot. A wider view showing that much of our area is just dealing with some heavy rain. We don't have any severe weather out of Newcastle County. We have some heavy rain near Philadelphia. Allentown, you're like, what's the big deal? There's not much going on. We have some pretty light rain. This is all associated with that warm front that's moving through. So we are getting some heavy downpours in Philadelphia, not even a rumble of thunder. All of the dynamics for the severe weather generally to the south, closer to the Mason-Dixon line. That's why across Maryland, they were getting hit so hard. The D.C., the Baltimore area, that's really going to probably be the big story at Good Morning America tomorrow as they see the damage. And now we're seeing that particular cell that's moving just north of Middletown. I don't see, I think in the beginning of this, I see, maybe we can back it up a little bit, Paul. I see a little bit of a hook in the beginning of that radar, and then as it expands, it looks like we're kind of losing the hook. A lot of times when we look at the reflectivity with the radar, when we see that classic hook signature, it is an indication of a possibility of a tornado. I don't see it too well here, but we did see that in the relative velocity. This particular view, over the past 15 minutes, we've had 20 lightning strikes. So it's really like rocking and rolling in Newcastle County as that particular cell continues pushing to the east. So Mount Pleasant, Greylag, McDonough, and Thornton all in the path of that possible tornado. Again, that tornado warning is in effect until 11:30 tonight. Second one of the night. The focus of the severe weather for our area has really been across Newcastle County, Delaware, because we've been tracking the storms moving out of Maryland, the severe storms, 15 tornado warnings in Maryland, and they're just kind of scooting through Newcastle County, bringing the damaging winds, the lightning, and that heavy rain. Now, this shows the precipitation rate with that particular cell close to 2 inches per hour. So that is torrential rain. We do have reports of as much as 6 inches of rain in northern Maryland, and there are going to be a lot of reports of some tree damage as well. The rainfall rate's pretty impressive with this particular cell. So again, we do have that tornado warning in effect until 11:30 for west central Newcastle County, Delaware. North of this, we're just getting the heavy rain. The focus of the tornadic activity has really been across Delaware, Newcastle County, Delaware. So unfortunately, if you live here, hopefully you are in your safe place right now. We'll continue to track it. Do we have any updates from the National Weather Service yet on location or anything? Adam's checking with the iPad currently.
Updates, no.
So this particular system, again, has been pushing out of Maryland. It's a warm front. Once it lifts out of our area tonight, we get a lull in the action. Tomorrow morning, not much is going on. But then we have a cold front tomorrow afternoon, and that will bring us a renewed risk of some severe weather. So this shows the rainfall chances over the next 18 hours. Really, we're in the thick of it right now. As we approach daybreak, it really drops off. So tomorrow morning, not much going on into the early afternoon, pretty quiet conditions. And then we have a renewed threat of some scattered storms tomorrow afternoon as that cold front pushes through. And what that front will finally do is get rid of the humidity we've been dealing with and bring us a beautiful start to the weekend, which I think a lot of people will appreciate. Future tracker showing as we head through the night tomorrow morning, you can see a few scattered lingering showers possible early tomorrow morning. Not much going on. We're not going to be getting any severe weather tomorrow morning, not going to be getting any heavy downpours. As we head into the afternoon, this is when we get that cold front. So that does have the possibility of bringing us a few more rounds of some pretty active weather. And the latest models are indicating that the best chance of stronger storms, unfortunately, for the areas have been dealing with tonight would also be mainly south of Philadelphia. It really looks like areas south of Philadelphia, kind of towards the Mason-Dixon line, the areas tonight that have been getting the strongest storms. And that's probably the case again as we head tomorrow afternoon into the evening hours with that cold front, and then everything will be pushing off, and then we have a very quiet start to the weekend, which I think a lot of people will appreciate. Until then, though, we do have that tornado warning, so we do like to stay on these to see if there are any updates from the National Weather Service on the location, or a lot of times they cancel them early, which is good news. But that tornado warning right now for west central Newcastle County, Delaware until 11:30. And you can see it right here as we get a little bit closer, even towards Wilmington. It's just heavy rain. But then you can see this cluster of the thunderstorms. This is the same cell that rolled through Baltimore that brought numerous tornado warnings for Maryland. And that's really the focus of the heavy weather right now. We've had, what, about 9 lightning strikes. Oh no, 36 lightning strikes. I was thinking that wasn't that much over the past 15 minutes. So that indicates there's a lot of juice to this storm. Tornado warning because it's radar indicated that the National Weather Service saw the radar and saw some rotation. You get some of that rotation, it could cause a tornado. So that's why we do have that tornado warning in effect. And it's moving pretty quickly towards the east at about 20 miles per hour. So again, Summit Bridge in the next 3 minutes, this possible tornado will be rolling through that area. Lornwood Grove about 6 minutes after that by 11:26. McDonough right here. Gams Crest by 11:28 and Thornton by 11:33. If that particular cell stays together, again, the tornado warning is in effect until 11:30 tonight. Thornton 11:33, but still. See the polygon? See how it kind of goes out? That's because a lot of times that tornado, again, does not follow a straight path. So to review, if you are in a tornado warning, this is actually good information for all of us since we're heading into severe weather season. You want to know what your safe place is. Best place always will be a basement. If you don't have a basement, a lot of people don't, you do want to get into a closet or an interior hallway or a bathroom on the lowest level of your floor. You want to get away from any windows and move indoors, obviously, and if things really get rocking, a good idea to get under a sturdy object. I know a lot of people out across the plain states dealing with those long track, very powerful tornadoes. They get in a tub with a mattress on top of them. Fortunately, we don't get really powerful tornadoes, but even an EF0, EF1, EF2 can cause a lot of damage. And then we've also seen that straight line winds can also cause a lot of damage. What you want to do is protect yourself from any falling objects, from any trees, any flying debris. Sky 6, our brand new wine camera, just saying, it's raining outside. It's really dark. You can't really see anything at all. We have some heavy rain rolling through Philadelphia. Haven't had any severe weather in Philadelphia and areas to the north. The focus really has been across Newcastle County. This actually shows it really, really well. How Philadelphia, steady, heavy rain. Allentown, it's light. Wilmington, moderate, but then you see this cluster of storms rolling right across the central part of Newcastle County, Delaware. That's where we have that tornado warning, and the Maryland area is finally clearing out. So this is really the last of it. They got blasted with 15 tornado warnings, 2 confirmed tornadoes. So this is the last that's moving right now north of Middletown, Delaware, 301. You can see all the lightning strikes and very heavy rain. Not even out of the question that they could have some large hail with these storms. There's enough uplift for that. Moving east at about 20 miles per hour. If this cell stays together, it would be pushing into Salem County, New Jersey. At this point, too early to tell if that's going to be happening. Do we have an update?
Yeah, if you want to open up my mic.
Open up
mic 11.
Adam's mic.
So, is it open? Yeah.
Is it open?
Okay, so we just got an update from the National Weather Service that they're continuing this warning until 11:30. A severe thunderstorm producing a possibility of rotation near Mount Pleasant or near Middletown, moving east, still at 20, Cecily.
Okay.
So still
Hasn't
moving
changed.
east at 20. In some of the impact cities, Delaware City, St. George's, Port Penn, Mount Pleasant, and Odessa.
Okay.
Other than that, there's been no other updates.
Okay, so they're continuing. So a lot of times the National Weather Service will produce updates because we've been 17 minutes into this, and a lot of times they'll see that the signature for the tornado has dissipated, so that's when they will cancel it, or they'll continue it, or sometimes they'll even extend it into another area. We've had 52 lightning strikes right now in this area, so you can see it's pretty powerful. Summit Bridge, as Adam mentioned, Thornton as well, basically crossing Route 71, 13 heading towards Route 9. Why don't we go ahead and do the relative velocity now? Because I think that actually shows the possibility of the center of rotation a lot better than what we're seeing right now in the relative velocity. So looks a little haggard, which could be a good sign. So we've got a little bit of that again, the gate-to-gate shear. When you have the green and you have the red pretty close to each other, that's an indication you have the wind going in one direction with the green, another one with the red. So it looks like it could be right around here. It's starting to look a little haphazard, which sometimes is an indication that it could be weakening. Hopefully that's the case, but you can also see that there's kind of this blob that's moving to the east. So that looks like that is the center of that circulation, which could be the tornado. The radar indicated tornado moving north of Middletown right now, moving east at about 20 miles per hour. So again, putting the path with the track with some of the communities, St. George's Heights, Thornton, Port Penn, and Elsinboro all in the path of the storm. Elsinboro, that's closer to midnight, so hopefully it'll lift out before that. It'll start to weaken. We've been seeing the storms holding together pretty well, moving out of Maryland, where they were just rocked with tornado warnings. So to the second one of the night right now in Newcastle County, we have a few thunderstorms developing right now in the corner of Chester County and Newcastle County. There was a tornado warning just south of Chester County in Maryland. That now has expired, so that's the good news for Chester County. You're just getting some heavy rain, a few rumbles of thunder right now, picking up in Salem County as well. But this is really the focus north of Townsend, Delaware, north of Middletown, where we're seeing the heaviest weather with the potential for that tornado warning. We're entering severe weather season right now, and I know folks a few years ago, especially actually 3 years ago, Mulca Hill dealt with a very powerful tornado. So this is a good reminder for all of us to make sure you know where your safe place is for your family to get into that basement, interior closet, or hallway, or bathroom's always a good idea to possibly escape any damage from a tornado. So this shows some of that rainfall that's been just pelting parts of Maryland. This shows accumulation near Aberdeen, where they did have several tornado warnings, more than 5 inches of rain. Near Odessa, Delaware, more than 4 inches. So the focus really of these storms has been from Maryland kind of moving due east. Even though the actual warm front is lifting up to the north, there's a lot more upper level support for the stronger storms south of our area. So that's why folks in Newcastle County have been hit with 2 tornado warnings in one night, when the rest of us are just dealing with some heavy rain. You can see that tornado warning again extending now north of Middletown to the Delaware River. We've had 40 lightning strikes over the past 15 minutes. So a lot of times when a storm system is trying to kind of rain itself out, we'll actually see the number of lightning strikes diminishing. Now a wider view showing 67 lightning strikes. So this shows that that storm system is holding together, and that's part of the reason why the National Weather Service is not canceling. They're continuing that tornado warning until 11:30. So again, some of the communities updated. Mount Pleasant by 11:22, in about 2 minutes, this possible tornado will be heading towards Mount Pleasant. So if you live there, if you have friends living there, seek shelter, get into your safe place, tell your friends to do that. Lorewood Grove, 11:25, so about 3 minutes after that. 11:32, McDonough. Now again, that tornado warning expires at 11:30, but storms, they don't follow the clock. So we'll just have to see what the National Weather Service does if they expire that tornado warning. If it holds together by 11:40, it'll be heading towards Thornton. So you can see over the past 15 minutes, we've had 73 lightning strikes with this. So it actually looks like it's even growing a little bit more in intensity as the energy out of Maryland kind of transfers into Delaware. All of this pushing to the east. So Newcastle County has been getting hit really hard. Areas to the north, not hearing much rumbles of thunder, not seeing a lot of lightning strikes. We're just getting kind of a steady rain that's pushing through Philadelphia right now. It's heading towards Bucks County, Norristown. moderate rainfall. You can see one lightning strike right now in Salem County and Chester County. Southern Chester County, you've been getting hit with some heavy rain, a few rumbles of thunder, but really the focus of that severe weather has been across Maryland and Delaware. It's shutting off in Maryland right now. It's moving through Delaware. That's where we have a tornado warning for west central Newcastle County, and then the rest of us just dealing with some heavy rain. So I think once that particular cell moves out, hopefully it weakens, everything kind of settles down overnight and we just have a few more bouts of heavy rain. But it has been a crazy night for Maryland. We've had storm reports, you can see, moving through the Rockville area north of Washington, D.C. Several tornado reports, one confirmed tornado, and that was the one in Gaithersburg that caused a lot of problems. So we've had, unfortunately, reports of 5 injuries as well. So that tornado was big enough that some buildings were actually demolished from it. And then there were some more tornado warnings near Baltimore. Overall, Maryland has had 15 tornado warnings tonight. 2 confirmed tornadoes, and the National Weather Service, I'm sure, will be sending out survey teams tomorrow to see if they had any additional tornadoes. So all these storms roll through Maryland. We were watching the radar all night, hoping that they would fall apart, but a few of them stayed together, and that's why we have that second tornado warning for Newcastle County, Delaware right now. Overnight tonight, things are going to be getting so much better. As we head through the overnight hours, we will be drying out as a warm front lifts north of our area. Tomorrow morning, we don't have to worry about any storms. We have a few lingering showers here or there. We're in the warm sector of the system, so this is a warm front, so it brings us warm, humid air tomorrow. Then we have a cold front moving through, and that will bring us the possibility of some storms in the afternoon into the evening hours. I want to stress that not everyone gets hit by these storms, but that's a cold front that will clear the air right in time for Friday and the weekend. So Future Tracker showing tomorrow morning the severe storms are out of here. The heavy downpours are out of here. We have a few lingering showers as we head right around lunchtime, maybe even a couple breaks of sunshine, and then that cold front pushing through in the afternoon. So this is a computer forecast model, so you have to kind of take it with a bit of a grain of salt, but it shows the timing. Probably the best chance of some storms would be around between 3, 6 o'clock. This one particularly shows around 5 o'clock. It does show that the potential for the heaviest weather would be south of Philadelphia. If that holds, that's going to be kind of similar to tonight. But the good news is once that cold front rolls through Friday, we've got some really refreshing weather, and the weekend's looking pretty nice, especially on Saturday. So it will all pay off once we get into Friday. Until then, though, this tornado warning does remain in effect for west central Newcastle County. It's north of Middletown, basically from 301 through 13, Route 9 to the Delaware River, including Delaware City. The potential for damaging winds. We have heavy rainfall, lightning, and this system, again, continuing to move to the east at about 20 miles per hour. And we've been looking for signs of it weakening. The one thing that I'm happy about, or feeling optimistic about, is that the relative velocity doesn't look quite as impressive as earlier. You can see as we put this into motion, it starts to kind of fall apart. So a lot of times that is an indication that the storm system could be kind of losing some of its punch. We'll have to see with an update if the National Weather Service does expire the tornado warning. It's set to expire in 5 minutes. It also shows the movement of the storm. You can see how it is moving generally due east at a pretty fast clip at about 20 miles per hour. So hopefully it'll continue to weekend. This is not a highly populated area, but again, Middletown, Delaware did have a pretty significant tornado just a few years ago that caused a lot of damage. So tracking the storm, we're starting to run out of towns because we're moving closer to the Delaware River, but it looks like McDonough in about 1 minute, that particular cell, that storm will be right on top of you. So if you live in McDonough, if you have any friends, you need to get to your safe place, call your friends, let them know to get to their safe place. Over the past 15 minutes, we've had 73, 72 lightning strikes with this cell as it continues to move pretty quickly to the east at about 20 miles per hour. So we've got thunder and lightning. If you live in Salem County, New Jersey, you're starting to see the lightning strikes. You're starting to hear the rumbles of thunder, and that rain is really picking up in intensity. We've had rainfall rates at anywhere from about 1.5 inches to 2 inches per hour. Again, parts of northern Maryland, 5 to 6 inches of rain. So this system is squeezing a lot of moisture out of the atmosphere. It's got some lift, and this is what's creating some of those lightning strikes. And as I've said, fortunately, it's at night. Most people are inside, but you never want to be outside during a thunderstorm. If you see something, you want to go outside, take some video, don't bother. It's just not worth the risk. Rainfall rates, you can see the focus of that is now shifting very close and actually over the Delaware River. So it's kind of front end loaded, where we're looking at the rainfall rate of close to 3 inches per hour. So the storm is unleashing torrents of rain right now. Fortunately, this isn't during a commute like the Gaithersburg area, the Baltimore storms tonight. A lot of video out of that because people were trying to get home. They were taking video. They were on the roads, which is very dangerous. So fortunately, most people are at home, but some very heavy rain. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see some areas of some flash flooding. Can we open Adam's mic up? I think he just have an update.
Yeah, so they have now extended this tornado warning until midnight for central Newcastle County in northern Delaware, southwestern Salem County, and southern New Jersey. At 11:27, severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was near Mount Pleasant, near Middletown, moving east at 15, so it slowed a little bit.
Okay.
So some of the towns, Salem, Hancock's Bridge, Port Penn, Hope Creek, and Odessa.
Okay, so this
it's a little further south than the
so
original.
this is the original polygon now, and so now we're saying how it's crossing the Delaware River. So now they're saying it's staying together. So the tornado warning has now extended into Salem County, New Jersey. So if you live in this area, I know I've been saying it, the focus has been in Newcastle County, but it doesn't look like the storm is weakening. It's actually starting to intensify. So if you live in this polygon here, if you live within that red, you do want to get in your safe place as well. So Salem County now under the gun as that storm begins to push out of Newcastle County, Delaware.
And one thing we've noticed is when this storm was coming in from Maryland, it had 5 lightning strikes when you went on the air at 11. It's up to 70 plus lightning strikes, and it seems like it's restructuring itself, where we had the original spin to the north, and you saw how that faded, and then there's like this new area developing where you have this concentration of lightning strikes, and there's some really
right
good
there.
gate-to-gate shear right there just to the east of Middletown.
You know, a lot of times, especially in this area, because we don't get the big long track tornadoes, we get the tornadoes that kind of like skip around, or they lift up and they regenerate and almost, form another storm that's got some more gusto to it. And that's definitely the case here.
Here was the original one you were tracking, which still has a little bit of gate-to-gate shear, but this is, I think, the more impressive of the two that they prompted that new warning.
And another update, it's slowing down.
Yeah, by 5 miles an hour. It's moving east at 15.
East at 15, so it's starting to cross the Delaware River right now. Thornton, Eisenboro, Port Penn in the path of the storm.
Correct.
So the tornado warning now is in effect until midnight tonight.
Yeah,
so Salem County, New Jersey, under the gun. It's going to be a busy night.
And another thing, I don't want to ignore this. We also have a flash flood warning for southwestern Chester County.
Okay.
Until 2:30, emergency management reports heavy rain in that warned area. Between 2 and 4 inches of rain have fallen. So that was a storm that prompted a tornado warning for Cecily County in Maryland.
Just south.
Just south of there. So we do have flooding ongoing right now in southern Chester County, where 2 to 4 inches has fallen. That's right near East Nottingham Township. So
this is a situation that we've been talking about, how the atmosphere is just loaded with moisture.
Yeah.
And so when you get the storms, they can wring out so much rain in a short period of time. We were watching the tornado warning.
Yeah, down right
It was just south, and we were kind of holding our breath, like, don't go into Chester County.
Because it was going east. And this, I mean, we have now a flash flood warning. We have all these tornado warnings, and we're in our AccuWeather Alert Week. I mean, you talked about it on Monday of just the flooding and how dangerous that can be. And just today, we had meteorologist Brittany Boyer talking about how tornadoes have increased in our area. So we have two of these ongoing situations at this hour.
So, and what I would say is turn around, don't drown.
Yep.
But again, when it happens this late at night, fortunately, most people are probably off the roads. But again, if you're driving late at night, or this is something to think about moving forward into severe weather season, this shows about 5 inches of rain. So the ground can't absorb that. So please do not drive through any flooded roads. Flash flooding, it happens in a flash very quickly. So it takes you off guard, and a lot of times it also dissipates very quickly as well. So this is up until 2:30 in the morning, you said,
yes,
for southern Chester County.
Yeah. And then you can just see how impressive these rainfall totals were in the Baltimore region and just east of there. So, and Paul, up to half a foot of rain, which is just unrelenting, and the humidity has really spiked up, and tomorrow the humidity is going to stay high. So, Paul, why don't we go back to that tornado warning? I just want to see, number one, the relative velocity to see if that couplet is strengthening.
I was hoping, because I saw the initial one starting to weaken. I thought, this is a good sign.
Restructuring itself here, which would be between Route 13 and 9, heading over the Delaware, the mouth of the Delaware River.
So now you can see how they've kind of cut it off. So, Middletown, that area is no longer. So the storm has now passed. So it's from Graylag, I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
And then
Thorntown, and I've been saying Thornton all night, into Salem, Lower Alloways Creek. So it extends into a pretty large section of Salem County, New Jersey. And again, it's almost like the cone of uncertainty with the hurricane tracks, where it flares out because, again, tornadoes can shift.
Yes.
They can change their direction. They can change their speed. So that's why, even if you're not right here, if you're here, you want to get
jog. It can kind of
safe place.
Jog to the north, south. But I would be, in your safe zone anywhere, but especially Lower Alloways Creek.
Definitely.
In this part of Salem County, it's a lot of farmland down through here. Of course, the farmers, they have their homes as well, and their crops, which is extremely valuable as well. So this is a pretty impressive couplet here. We have the inbound green toward the radar, the red outbound, where you get that spin in the atmosphere. And again, this is only radar indicated. It's not a confirmed tornado. But whether it's confirmed or not, you want to be in your safe place, which is the lowest level of your home. You've been telling people all evening.
And this time at night, you really can't confirm it anyhow.
True. And it'll be rain wrapped.
It's dark and it's rain wrapped.
Rain wrapped,
meaning so you can't see anything.
You can't see anything.
So that's why we depend on the experts at the National Weather Service. And when you see this, it does look more impressive.
It does.
Than the original couplet that we had. So Port Penn, Elsinboro, Lower Alloways Creek, all in the path of this radar indicated tornado until midnight tonight. Moving, you said east at, is it east or northeast? East at 15 miles an hour.
Yeah, so it's going in the lower parts of Salem, County once it passes over, the mouth of the Delaware River, because here's the bay down here, and then it kind of, and when storms like this get near water, there's no friction, with wind. So sometimes it can do a little bit of funny business.
And sometimes it can pick up pace.
Pick up pace too. Because you see water spouts a lot more than at times than you do tornadoes. So the storm, thankfully, it's starting to weaken.
I'm looking. I'm still seeing 46.
I know it was up to 73.
I mean, that's still a lot.
It's impressive. But it's a storm that was strengthening, and that's why it created its own new little rotation on the southern end of it, from what I believe while I was watching it on the side.
Wait, hold on. Now it says, all right, I saw 66 and now it's down to 43. So that's a good sign at least. But I'm concerned about the fact that gate-to-gate shear looks pretty impressive.
Looks pretty impressive on the radar, and the radar that we're using is the Dover radar because that's the closest to the storm. When we had the other one that was straddling near Chester County, we were using our new radar, our Lancaster County radar up there. So at least we have these radars placed across the region where we can kind of hone in and see a little more intricate detail of these storms.
And I want to stress too, when we show you that couplet, the gate-to-gate shear, that is rotation in the atmosphere. It's not necessarily reaching the ground.
Correct.
So a lot of times we have a lot more tornado warnings lately have been verifying than in the past. But whenever you see rotation, that's when the tornado warning goes out. Doesn't mean that most definitely there's a tornado on the ground, but there's strong potential. And even if we don't get tornadoes, when you see a cluster of thunderstorms like this, I mean, it can come with some pretty intense winds. Straight line winds in our area can be just as bad as low-grade tornadoes. So when you get a storm like that, you do want to seek shelter immediately. And you want to get away from the windows, again, because the debris that's flying through the air, trees, and those are the things that cause the most injuries and fatalities during tornadoes.
And on X, you know, you were retweeting. We had so many videos down at that tornado, confirmed tornado down east of Washington, where people were at an intersection where power lines were flashing and you had debris, you know, going across cars. So that's really the main danger is the debris flowing around the tornado and, you know, either, you know, going into homes or cars or whatnot. That's why you want to stay from any sort of windows.
I got annoyed because one guy, he rolled down his window to get better sound. You don't want to do that.
No.
This is what you want to do. You have a tornado warning in your area. Seek shelter now. Again, I keep saying go into a basement. I have a lot of people who tell me
high rises.
Yeah, go to the lowest level or go in the basement of your high rise. Closet, interior hallway, the lowest level, because the strongest winds, makes sense, are higher up in the atmosphere. Avoid windows, even though you may think, wow, this is going to be great video. I want to get posts on Twitter or X or YouTube or whatever. Like, don't bother. Obviously, go indoors. And again, if things really start rocking, get under a sturdy object. This is something that we all take away and learn from.
Yes, and the National Weather Service did put a special marine warning out for the waters of north of East Point, New Jersey, and Slaughter Beach, Delaware, saying that, you know, producing the possibility of a waterspout located near Stony Point, moving east at 15 knots, which is close to 20 miles an hour, you know, and the hazard being water spouts and wind gusts over 40 knots. So that's that storm that is starting to enter the waters and moving out of Delaware and towards Salem County in New Jersey.
And possibly, you know, possibly continuing to move east or possibly starting to make a turn
to the north. It could easily.
Or south. Again,
so there it is right there.
It's very close to the Delaware River right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can see, again, so that's the indication of the rotating winds higher in the atmosphere right now, possibly hitting the ground, causing tornadic damage. Hopefully that's not the case.
Right.
But yeah, you can see it very clearly.
And Paul, can we zoom in a little bit closer, you know, and get, you know, again, there's probably not many roads or towns if you go towards the east, and they're in, here we go, some of these roads, that's where it's heading to the east. It's over Bayview Road, but, you know, at Hagersville, just to the south of downtown Salem.
We have Locust Island Road.
Yep.
Beasley Neck Road.
Okay. In Hammersville, downtown Hammersville, you know, Quinton Alloway Road, Salem's Hancock's Bridge Road, Paradise Lakes.
Telegraph Road, Alloway Road.
So these are the zones I would be honing in on for people to, you know, seek shelter and keep their phones nearby and listen to us, you know, on a streaming app if needed.
I mean, that's the best thing to do is take your phone with you into your basement so that you can hear what's going on, or you know, your iPad so you can watch online.
So Paul's going to put a little track on there for us.
So this shows if it keeps moving in its same general direction, at the same general speed, 15 miles an hour. So sometimes, again, it can speed up, it can slow down, it can move a little bit. So these aren't always exactly perfect, but it gives you a good idea. Elsinboro, Lower Alloways Creek, Harmersville, and if I mispronounce any of them, you can correct me. I won't be offended. Quinton, also New Jersey, all Salem County right now. So as it continues to track to the east, moving across the Delaware River, hoping it starts to weaken a little bit more. I mean, fewer lightning strikes. I mean, that's a good sign.
But I mean, it's blinding rain. So like we said, it's dark. You wouldn't see this. We have rainfall rates is up to over 2 inches per hour. So even if, you know, the tornado's not on the ground, you're talking about a lot of rain falling. You got the dangerous cloud-to-ground lightning. I mean, there's just so many lightning strikes. It's probably like hearing constant rumbling, you know, the kids and the dogs.
Anybody with kids and dogs are not sleeping there anyhow right now.
Not at this hour. So, all right, so we're down to 23.
That's a good sign.
See, you could just see how many lightning strikes.
It's really starting. It was a really intense cluster earlier, and now it's starting to.
This guy looks like he is starting to blossom a little bit there near Newark, Delaware.
Yeah, heading towards Wilmington. Actually, people in Wilmington probably hear the rumbles of the thunder. And again, you mentioned that there is some flooding in southern Chester County right now. So,
yes, so that was the
flash
storm
flood
that
warning
prompted the flash flood
2:30.
warning. And this was the storm that prompted the tornado warning in northern parts of Maryland. So this storm going through some restructuring.
Yeah. It's starting to flare up again.
Yeah, right over Newark, Delaware, and 95.
Taking a ride along I-95 right now.
And here is the flash flood warning, East Nottingham Township, lower parts of Chester County.
And how much rain did you say?
2 to 4.
2 to 4
2 to 4 inches of rain there had fallen. So, and that's till 2:30 in the morning. So, you know, if you work a midnight shift or a late shift, encounter water-covered roads, always turn around and find an alternate route.
Be very careful. And the fact that it's happening at night, some of the barriers, you know, barricades may not be out quite yet. So just be careful. A lot of times with flash flooding, the most dangerous time is in the middle of the night because you can't see it. You drive into a road that's covered with water. If it's in the middle of the day, you can see. And you know to turn around.
And you did the story on Monday, your severe weather package, and you know it doesn't take much water to knock you off your feet. It doesn't take much water to float your car.
It's 2 feet of rushing water can float most cars away. Even if you have one of those big SUVs like Rick does over there, you know, with big muscle cars, even those, like 2 feet of water.
Big muscle.
So, because you have big muscles.
Yes.
That's right. So this shows, we're getting a little punchy out here, I'm sorry. So this shows about 4.5 inches of rain in Chester County. And so, again, that was that cell that sparked the tornado warning just to the south. And so they were just kind of clipped with the high intensity rainfall rates in that area. That you can see when you look at this that in Maryland just hit so hard, and then it just seems like
it's all west to east track.
Newcastle County, Salem County kind of getting the leftovers of what was going on in Maryland tonight, and they were going crazy. And 15 tornado warnings, at least 2 confirmed. And the rainfall rates, it shows about 6 inches of rain
out here near Aberdeen, Maryland, and then you're talking 4 or 5 inches of rain even partially into Newcastle County, because you were on the air earlier this evening with a tornado warning in the same general area. So this area hit by 2 tornado warnings, but also the heaviest rain as well. Yeah,
but it seems like we're almost seeing the training of storms like over the same area, and that's what they were getting in the Baltimore area, and now we're getting clipped with it, moving out of Newcastle County, moving into Salem County. So if you're just joining us right now, if you're hoping to watch Jimmy Kimmel, I'm sorry, but we do have that tornado warning that's in effect until midnight tonight. So this is, it's past now for Newcastle County. So it's moving out right now. So it's really Salem County, New Jersey. So it's moving to the east. But again, like I've been saying all night, tornadoes sometimes they have a mind of their own, so they can move in different directions. So that's why that polygon, that tornado warning polygon, does flare out, including Salem County, New Jersey, Lower Alloways Creek as well. So if you live in this area, again, please seek shelter right away. Hopefully everyone's already been doing this. Storm system looks to be losing some of its punch as far as lightning strikes, and now they've
Yes, so we just got an update. They canceled it for Newcastle, but they're continuing it until midnight for Salem County, New Jersey. Let me see. It was located over Port Penn, or 7 miles northeast of Middletown, moving east. That was at 11:43, which was a minute
that was
ago.
Earlier.
1 minute ago.
Is it over the river right now?
So it's over. Yes, it's over the river right now. So that's why they pushed. You know, they canceled it for Delaware, but they're continuing it for Salem until midnight. So people in Newcastle County, Delaware, if you've been in your basement, you can get out of your basement. You are in the clear right now. You just have some heavy rain. Even the thunder and lightning has really moved out of the area for the most part. So the rainfall will be lessening in Newcastle County, Delaware. Your crazy night, it's pretty much over. And now it's really focused on this section, this kind of west, like southern like
section of
central southern Salem
County, New Jersey. So it's moving over the Delaware. It's moving east. Is it still moving at 15 miles an hour? Moving east at 15 still. Yeah, it hasn't moved its direction of track. Hancock's Bridge is they're honing in on as a town, and also Hope Creek. Those are the 2 that they have on here, including Salem. So Salem, Hancock's Bridge, and Hope Creek is the towns they're watching. But this, I mean, even this storm, I don't know. I'm trying to eye this and seeing
you know, it's feeding not into this storm, but this is strengthening right here. And
I'm hoping we just get no rotation from that.
I'm a little nervous by looking at this because the lightning strikes now up to 40.
Because it's a wider view, so we are including that area, moving out of Newark into Wilmington. So if you live in Newark, you've been hearing the thunder and lightning. You're not under tornado warning, not under severe thunderstorm warning, but you are getting some pretty strong storms. This particular cell, actually, this was what I was going to ask.
All right, so I don't.
Is this? Can we zoom into that a little bit? I don't even.
On the Dover radar? Paul, are we on the Dover radar still? Yes. Okay, we are on the Dover radar. So that couplet, I don't see
it much.
There it was right there.
It kind of.
So it's past the. It's past the
It's
river.
right in here now.
Yeah. So it's past the river and Salem and weaker.
So the center of that rotation for that possible tornado has now pushed into Salem County, New Jersey. It doesn't look as strong as before, but we still have 14 more minutes of the tornado warning. So, you know, the folks at the National Weather Service are looking at the same stuff that we're looking at, and they're trying to decide right now, do they continue the tornado warning until midnight, or do they cancel it ahead of time, or do they issue flash flood warnings? We'll have to see what's going on, but it does look like the rotation, at least with our radar right now, does look like it's weakening somewhat. But that being said, Lower Alloways Creek, Harmersville, Maskell's Mill, Chef's Valley, Jericho. All right, well, that's past midnight, but those are some of the towns. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce. I've lived here for almost 30 years now, and I've never said that name of the town on the air. So we do see a little bit of this kind of under the banner right now from Lower Alloways Creek. That is the center of the possible tornado, radar indicated. That continues to move east at about 15 miles per hour.
But yeah, it's really kind of disjointed at this point now.
It's definitely weakening.
It's definitely weakening very quickly, which again is great news. This thing flared up so fast, and now it's kind of pulsing down as it's heading into southern parts of Salem County, while the northern one is strengthening with no warnings, but you know, those in Wilmington definitely getting some heavy rain, lightning, Pennsville. So even though northern Salem County not in the tornado warning or any warning, you know, that's a little nasty cell working up I-95.
Well, we were watching for the better part of an hour because they had tornado warnings kind of lined up in Maryland, just west of Newcastle County, and we were kind of waiting, like, is it going to hold together? Is it going to weaken? Hoping it would weaken. Held together, started to weaken across Newcastle County, and then just kind of regenerated and brought the potential for some damage to Salem County. So this small area of Salem County still under that tornado warning for about the next 12 minutes. Brandywine camera, Philadelphia. We got rain here.
I know.
It's not too exciting.
It's not too exciting.
Which is a good thing.
Now that storm's weakening, I'll chat with Paul. Maybe show the 7-day so people can see what's coming. I mean, we have beautiful weather because this just doesn't seem to be. You know,
Let's do that. So we have the tornado warning is in effect for Salem County, parts of Salem County until midnight. But I know a lot of viewers right now do not live in Salem County, and we've been on the tornado threat since the beginning of the newscast. So let's go ahead. The exclusive AccuWeather 7-day forecast tomorrow. It's very humid. We have a few lingering showers possible early in the morning, then mostly cloudy, a couple breaks of sunshine possible, but then a cold front rolls through, and that brings us a chance of some afternoon thunderstorms. So please do stay weather aware. The nice thing is Friday, this is payback day. This is when we get the sunshine. The humidity drops, partly to mostly sunny, breezy with a high of 83, and the weekend starts really nice. Should be a glorious day on Saturday. Comfortable, sunny, 80 degrees. Sunday also looking pretty nice. Some sunshine, the possibility of a few showers north and west, a high of 80 degrees. Doesn't look to be a washout. I would not cancel any plans. And then we keep the pretty comfortable weather into next week. On Monday, mixture of sun and clouds, that high 79 degrees. Tuesday, partly sunny and seasonable, 80 degrees. And then Wednesday is when temperatures start to rebound, turning warmer with a high of 85 degrees. So once we get past tomorrow, once that cold front sweeps through, it's like a humidity buster. And that's what brings us the really comfortable weather on Friday, the sunshine, the low humidity, and we keep that weather right into the weekend. So things will settle down. I do not see a polygon right now? Did they?
No, it's still there.
It's still there?
Yeah,
all right, my hopes were up. All right, we still do have that tornado warning for southwestern Salem County, New Jersey until midnight tonight. Notice that the activity across much of Newcastle County is starting to diminish. We do have that cluster of thunderstorms heading towards Wilmington. That is not severe. It's the activity that's rolling through Salem County right now, moving east at about 15 miles per hour. That has prompted that tornado warning. A wider view showing that much of our area, though, has not been getting any severe weather. Philadelphia, we've been getting some rounds of some heavy, moderate rain as you move through parts of Montgomery County, Bucks County, some heavier rain as well, parts of Berks County activity. And then when you head closer to the shore, we are seeing some moderate rainfall as well as a few thunderstorms that have been kind of breaking out. One just east of LBI right now. Actually, this little cell moved through north of Atlantic City. So folks at the Jersey Shore aren't dealing with severe weather, but they are dealing with some showers and thunderstorms with some heavy downpours. The focus of the severe weather tonight has been earlier tonight across Newcastle County, Delaware. We had 2 tornado warnings. That particular cell kind of held together, almost regenerated, and prompted the National Weather Service to now extend that tornado warning until midnight for much of Salem County. Not a hugely populated area, but people do live here. We got a lot of farms. Salem, Hagersville, Lower Alloways Creek, all in the path of this possible storm. We've been watching it on radar. It does appear to be weakening, which is good, but looks like there's enough rotation that the National Weather Service does continue. Nope, they did not continue.
No, they just canceled it.
They just canceled. The tornado warning has now been canceled.
Early.
So 8 minutes early.
Okay.
Are we throwing to the news, or what are we doing now?
I think you should do news till 1 a.m.
What
I'm tired of talking, so let's no.
Well, hopefully none of this verifies. Hopefully, if it was a tornado, it rolled through some forests, some areas that nobody lives, and everyone's safe. Tomorrow afternoon, just stay weather aware. Could have another round of storms, and then some beautiful weather as we head towards the weekend. I'm tossing back to you, Rick, because I'm done.
Yes, you are. Okay, Cecily, thank you very much. Thank you for your coverage since 11 o'clock tonight. And, of course, with the chance of rain tomorrow morning, be sure to wake up with Action News. We will have the latest timing on when the rain moves out and any impact it could have on your commute, and hopefully when we'll see some sunshine again. Well, stay safe out there. Jimmy Kimmel Live is next on Channel 6, followed by Nightline, a little later edition. Now for meteorologist Cecily, Tynan, Adam Joseph, Deuces Rogers, Interaction News team, I'm Rick Williams. Thanks for joining us. Be careful out there, and we'll see you right here tomorrow. Good night.